Every Republican who's gone on TV the last 12 hours or so has called this the Schumer Shutdown. What do you say about that name? Senator Schumer, can you hear me?
I can't hear.
Yeah, well, Chuck's mic isn't hot. It's dead. Ours are hot with political savant, analyst, journalist, and today, referee John Ellis from Substack is with us. Who's going to win the government shutdown? It's Hot Mics with Billy Bush, presented by our friends at LA Golf. Hot Mics with Billy Bush. Great time. You know it. Hello, my friends, and we are live on TuneIn and YouTube. Hot Mics with Billy Bush. The Schumer Shutdown. I mean, boy, can Trump assign a nickname. He's just so good. The House passed the short-term spending bill. In the Senate, we got a standoff. One side of the aisle needs 60 votes to end the standoff. Who's gonna buckle first? The Republicans' bill did not restore Medicaid funding or extend Obamacare subsidies, so Democrats didn't sign on. The Democratic version added more than $1 trillion in spending, so the Republicans said no. Schumer took heat in March in this exact same situation when he said he did not trust what Trump would do if the government shut down, so he capitulated and decided to keep it open. And of course, he took heat from his own party and their party line pundits. Well, does Schumer trust the president more this time? I don't think that's likely. So what changed? We welcome the founder and creator of News Items, which I read every morning, and political news items on Substack, a man who's covered politics since I was in diapers, the great John Ellis. Hey, John.
Billy, how are you?
So good, man. Thank you. You got the headphones in. You've got me in surround sound. This looks like this is a big gamble for the Democrats. Do you think, will it pay off?
I don't think so. I mean, they're staking, putting all their chips on the healthcare issue, which is a real concern, but it's not one that's an immediate concern. They could have gone with what's called a continuing resolution and moved this back to December. The Republicans have a unified message, and they have a huge messenger, obviously, in President Trump. If I had been advising the Democrats, which will never happen, I would have said, look, we'll go along with a continuing resolution until December, but our one condition is that the Epstein files be released.
Wow.
That would have seemed like a very reasonable proposition, right? I mean, you can't really argue with it. But given the skittishness, we'll call it, that the Trump White House and the Republicans on the Hill have about the Epstein files, it would have given us a lot of great cable TV, for one thing.
Oh, yeah.
But it would have put the Republicans in an odd spot because many of them, for a long time, called for the release of the Epstein files. So that, I think, was the big mistake that Schumer and Jeffries made. They could, the healthcare issue is going to expand as AI begins to, scythe its way through the white-collar workforce. So that's not an issue that's going away. What they need to do is get the government funded. And the first thing they need to do for that is get a continuing resolution to keep people paid, and then work out some kind of deal at the end of the year. But as I say, I think the Epstein condition would have been one that would have been a winner for them.
Boy, that would have been a winner. That would have just put all the chips, because you know what, you're street fighting with a really polished street fighter in Donald Trump. I mean, he relishes battles like this. That would have been a shot he did not see coming. And look, they're not going to solve big healthcare problems in a matter of days, right? So there's no way either side is focused on negotiation or compromise. They're dug in on winning a political battle here. The PR war. And Schumer is, like I said a second ago, is up against a man whose greatest weapon is shamelessness, man. He does not give one you know what. And here is the video everybody's talking about today, the AI video that Trump and his team made of Schumer.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't.
I mean, he might not have been able to put that out had they done the Epstein move, as you said, the Epstein hold, which would have been unbelievable. But, you know, there was the expected outrage from Schumer and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, you know, to which, not surprisingly, Donald Trump doubles down with a full mariachi band.
And we're going to continue to make clear, bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault.
Okay, there you get the idea. I mean, John, the MAGA bros are riding this catnip like Seabiscuit. I mean, Trump, this is... They're in a real trouble with him. There's no way they're going to win this battle with him.
Well, I mean, there's no way that in this sort of time frame that the win is going to come out of it. I do think that Trump is constantly pushing the envelope, or whatever the cliche is, and I think the more he does that, the more political trouble he'll have down the road. So I don't think the videos. I think they think they're funny. I think they think they're effective, but I think particularly among independents and, sort of leaners, people that could vote either way, this sort of nonsense is not helpful to the Republicans or to Mr. Trump.
It certainly gets shared a lot on social media. He just, he doesn't care. But his message, his actual message, which I want to ask you if there's any truth to, is he says the Democrats want illegal aliens, many of them violent criminals in capitals, to receive free health care. Then he gets J.D. Vance, who, has his own things to say, but he doubles down with Trump and says Democrats are about to shut down the government because they demand we fund health care for illegal aliens. Is that called misinformation or disinformation, John?
I'm not sure of the difference, but it's not true, obviously. And it's the message that the polling has told them will work, and so they're executing it.
But there's is it an exaggeration on? I think isn't there one part of the healthcare. It's like an emergency room care for undocumented immigrants.
No, it's if somebody gets smashed up in a motorcycle accident and that person is a quote illegal alien or undocumented worker or whatever, you take that person to the hospital. They're going to get treatment one way or another. So it's shameless, as you said, but it polls well, so they use it.
Yeah. Is there polling or any kind of polling information or data that suggests the Democrats' message, to extend federal subsidies for the Affordable Care Act that expire this year and a reversal of the deep cuts to Medicaid that passed in the big, beautiful bill is much stronger, is so much stronger that they can withstand this effort from Trump and this. Do they have the stronger message?
Well, no, they don't. But the message will get stronger and stronger as time goes on, and if premiums go up, which they will, under the current circumstances, that will be an event at the end of the year. So the healthcare message is a winner down the road. The way that the Democrats seem to settle on things is that they look at a range of issues and, healthcare, the environment, inflation, crime, whatever. And the one issue they always, quote, win on, the one issue where they poll better than Republicans is healthcare. So all these high-priced consultants come together and they say, you know what, we should we should plant our flag on healthcare. And everybody says, well, yeah, that's what the numbers show. And so they go out and do that. And, from a point of view of a continuing resolution that gets you to the end of the year to work work this stuff out, it's a non-message, and you're up against a guy that dominates the news cycle 24/7. I mean, at 2:30 in the morning, he might post another mariachi band featuring Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Jeffries. So these political parties and the elected officials follow poll data is, if it shows A, then do A. If it shows B, then do B. There's no creative thought. There's no policy thinking really of any kind. And so, in the Democratic Party's case, they're they're left talking about something that they should be talking about at the end of the year and throughout
Right.
2026.
I mean, Obamacare helped attract like 24 million people or something like that to sign up for coverage this year. 92% of those people are subsidized. You said the premiums will go up. I mean, Schumer was quoting like $1,400 a month from like a Kaiser number or something. Who knows if it's probably not that high. But it feels like a powerful message. You're saying it's just not one we're going to feel now. It's not going to help them in their fight now because the effects don't come until later. So they're not going to, it's not powerful enough to help them beat Mariachi Trump.
Well, yeah, I mean, so you're here at this moment, October 1st, the new fiscal year has begun. The government needs to be funded. It shuts down because it's not funded. You have the option of a continuing resolution, which the Republicans will vote for. It pushes it back to December. So knowing all that, what's the one thing that Republicans don't want to talk about? They can confuse everything on healthcare. They can say, no, illegal, it's really just a plot to get illegal aliens to have free healthcare or whatever. They can muck it up enough in the news cycle that it's sort of hard to tell what's true and not true. But if the demand is, look, we're all in on the continuing resolution, but we have one minor little condition, and that is we want to see the entirety of the Epstein files, and we want them released on October 3 at 12 noon.
That would be. Why are you the only person saying that? How come they didn't? Why didn't they think of this? Isn't that, I mean, now you say it, to me, it feels like, boy, that's just like simple strategy. And yet I haven't heard it at all.
I don't know. It didn't. I first heard it, actually. There's a guy named Michael Wolff who has written 3 or even 4 books about the Trump presidency and the Trump, election campaign of 2024. And he does these Instagrams where
I've seen them.
Talks. Yeah.
He's like in a nice kitchen somewhere in like maybe, the countryside.
And he said he had the same idea, which was, look, forget about all this legislative stuff. Just go right to the chase. Put it down there. We're all in if you give us the Epstein files. And
they could still do it.
I agree. I think that's exactly what they should have done.
I mean, if Schumer sees it going the wrong way quickly, that they're losing the battle, which I think we all kind of feel now, why not make the move now? Why not just say it now? Say, you know what? Fine.
Yeah. They also have the visual, of 2 New Yorkers, right, as the spokespeople for the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party does not have a problem with New York voters. They have a problem with voters in the middle part of the country, in the southern part of the country, in the mountain time zones. And so simply the visual of the Democratic Party's presentation, gets into, liberal Democrats, New York City Democrats, AOC. It all gets bundled up into this kind of, Republican wet dream of foils. But if you can switch that to say, look, everything's fine, except we got to see the files, man. We got to see the files.
I want to see
And
the
that,
file.
that puts everything back on the Republicans, and the Democrats can just say, look, you were all in, no problem. We just want to see those files.
John Ellis, who is the author, creator, and operator of news items on Substack and political news items as well as the Night Owls podcast. John, there's some questions here in the YouTube comment section here. Someone says, if the government shuts down, does Congress continue to get their paychecks?
I believe so. Yeah. I don't know that for a fact, but I believe so.
Oh, they still get them, huh?
Yeah. There's 800,000 people who don't get paid and don't work. They're furloughed, and there are 800 or 700,000. I may have this backwards. There are 700,000 who continue to go to work, like TSA checkers at the airport and stuff, but who don't get paid, and that includes military personnel.
Wow. Okay. Well, with the biggest, everyone's going to get paid back. I guess if they end it soon, it'll all be back pay. But what are the biggest changes that, I guess the airports, that you have to have air traffic controllers, but you can expect delays.
Yeah, I would assume, I don't know, but I would assume that some TSA employees would say, you know what, if I'm not going to get paid, maybe I'm sick today or something. So it'd probably be slower at the airports if people are flying about. National parks. There are all sorts of, things that we, the public, sort of, don't really pay attention to, but there's got to be somebody to let you into Yellowstone Park. There has to be someone who checks you through security at the airport. All those people are suddenly, either furloughed or working without pay. So those services decline.
Yeah. Well, who's going to, what if you could make a prediction for how long this government shutdown goes, would you say it goes to the end of the week, or do you think it makes it through the weekend?
I have no idea. My guess is that if there is going to be a resolution, it will be, Democrats will cave on Friday night, because that's when you dump bad news, is on Friday night, so that it disappears into the weekend.
Okay. Epstein files, Democrats. Why did you missed it? Forget all these, you're slicing and dicing over Obamacare and subsidies and Medicaid repeals and all that. It's the Epstein files. John Ellis made the call. I read news items every morning. It's everything you need to stay up in the world. And speaking of staying up, I see when you put that thing out. I hope you're getting some sleep.
We start at 1 and we finish at about 7.
Wow.
And then I actually go back to sleep for 2 hours and then start my day. So
fantastic. Is that Bridget Bardot over your head?
Indeed it is.
Wow.
Smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
My wife was the chief marketing officer for Getty Images for a number of years. And so we have all these great Getty Image pictures throughout the house. I have a great one right next to me of Keith Richards.
Oh no!
also smoking a cigarette.
He's almost in. It's like she makes smoking look sexy. He makes it look like you can actually get away with it.
Right.
Yeah. John Ellis, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Billy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you. God, it's just, can you believe what a great call that was? Why are you staking the ground on healthcare, where they can twist your words and they can make up things like that put you on your heels, such as free healthcare for illegals, all these things that aren't true. All you had to say was, okay, we'll keep it open. All you have to do is show the Epstein files. God, it's unbelievable. Coming up, we're going to break down the latest on this Jimmy Kimmel situation and really provide a little bit of perspective on what happened there and the real reason he came back almost as quickly as he was canned. But I'm going to tell you right now about our friends at Prize Picks, sponsor of our show here. It's really easy to place money and win at Prize Picks. It's easy. I like easy. Find 2 or more players and pick more or less under their projected stats. That's it. You can play in over 40 states, including California and Texas. So let's take a look at the major leagues right now. We've got the playoff season has begun. The Dodgers are 1-up over the Reds. Won last night. They got game 2 tonight. The Red Sox are 1-up over the Yankees. Game 2 about to start. Let's take a look at what we got here. Cody Bellinger for the Yankees, okay? He used to be with the Dodgers. I'm making a big move here. I'm calling him to have at least 1 home run in the game that begins shortly right there. 0.5 home runs is the line, more or less. I'm going to take more for Cody. Freddie Freeman, pretty easy right there. Is he going to at least have 1 hit for the Dodgers? You're darn right he will. Of course he will. Freddie Freeman gets a hit. All right. 6.5 times multiplier there. I could win $130. Only $20 in. Not so bad. Let's take a look at Thursday Night Football real quick. I love this. This is so easy. I don't get too fancy with this stuff. Matthew Stafford, 1.5 touchdowns. More or less, I say Matthew will definitely throw for a couple, if not 3. I feel good about that. I'm taking more on Stafford. Christian McCaffrey running for, at least 40 yards. 39.5, more or less, I take more. I take more for McCaffrey right there. Prize Picks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you win. So use the promo code Hot Mics and download the app right now. All right, Hot Mics with Billy Bush rolls on here, brought to you by LA Golf. We are live on TuneIn and YouTube, and let's talk about Kimmel and Colbert doing a little home and away last night, each giving the other their story of cancellation or near cancellation. I just love what Jimmy Kimmel posted. Be sure to watch No Talent Jimmy Kimmel on Colbert and Very Boring Stephen Colbert on Kimmel in Brooklyn simultaneously tonight. That's funny. All right, let's talk about what really happened here with and by the way, in the conversation that they had, Stephen Colbert said that his manager, James Baby Doll Dixon. Everybody hears about Baby Doll. Bill Simmons talks about Baby Doll. Baby Doll is a big comedy manager, handles Kimmel, he handles Colbert, he handles Jon Stewart. Anyway, Baby Doll said, I need 15 minutes in person with you after the show on Wednesday. And Colbert says, oh, God, Baby Doll doesn't do anything in person. I assume he just calls everybody Baby Doll. Hey, Baby Doll, like an old, booby, like Boobala. Hey, Boobala. Anyway, Baby Doll goes and tells him they're canceling the show. Bing, and he thought, Stephen called his wife and said, I'll be there in, 15 minutes late tonight. And when he got home 2.5 hours late, Mrs. Colbert, his wife, said, what happened? You get canceled? And he said, well, come to think of it, yeah, I did. And then Jimmy told the story that he was about an hour and a half before the show. He gets a call from Disney executives, and they say, we're really worried about the temperature's hot right now. We're worried about what you're going to say tonight, Jimmy. We think that the best way to go is to just step off the air. And Kimmel was like, what are you talking about? The audience is in their seats. I got to tell my staff. And so awkwardness of awkwardness, he did. They sent everybody home. And Jimmy said it was like getting a DUI in Los Angeles. 3 days, in the slammer, and you can't say anything. So, they did a little, I'll give you my story, you give me yours, and we'll do it on each other's show. They didn't used to do this back in the, Letterman and Leno did not used to go on each other's shows. There's so much kumbaya now. Anyway, about the Kimmel quick suspension and even quicker reinstatement, did Disney executives, why did they do it? Did they have like a moral epiphany? Did they see a threat to free speech and take a stand for the greater good? Did a lot of their, big stars that work with them raise a stink? I'm sure all of that is true, a little at least. But the main reason is they saw subscription cancellations to Disney Plus from the MAGA faithful who don't just gripe online, they actually watch stuff. Now, add to them the free speech crowd. Julia Alexander from Puck News uncovered the churn rate for Disney Plus and Hulu during the first 5 days of Jimmy's sidelining. It was nearly 6 times higher than before he was bounced. So this is according to Yipit, a data firm that uses credit card transactions and browser cookies to track consumer activity. Past subscription cancellation events like Netflix founder Reed Hastings, it was discovered he made a $7 million donation to Kamala Harris, for which we can call him Reed Wastings. And the hypersexualized marketing poster of 11-year-old girls from the film Cuties on Netflix. It was about, those two events were about half as damaging as the Kimmel cancellation when it comes to subscriptions. Disney Plus cannot afford churn like the others. It ranks like last among the big streamers. Hulu's a little bit better, but still ranks lower than Paramount Plus. And Julia points out, if this wasn't football season, the Kimmel churn would have been way worse. But it seems like the biggest issue for Disney is it's getting increasingly harder to stay mainstream in an increasingly divided America. They're always caught up in the culture wars, and some sort of statement or position is expected from this heritage cultural behemoth, and they seem to struggle with that. I can think of 5 examples here. Disney's response to Florida's Don't Say Gay law about leaving, gender talk out of schools. Initially, the then CEO Bob Chapek declined to take a position, saying, these positions are often weaponized by one side or the other to further divide and inflame. Correct. But it doesn't get you out of it. They still want something from Disney. He then reversed after that statement, which was sort of a non-statement, and he was like, look, we treasure our LGBTQ plus employees. We value them. We love you. We will now listen more. We blah, blah, blah. It brought back Bob Iger. Another problem they had, polar opposite COVID safety protocols in Disneyland in Southern California versus Disney World in Florida. In California, it's like you can't have more than 3 groups together. Masks have to be worn by everybody 2 years or older. You have to have 6 feet of... And in Florida, Disney World was like, yeah, open spaces, you're all good. Well, when you're a big company and you, of course, all of your people matter, like you can't have separate rules in separate places. Remember the firing of Gina Carano over her social media posts comparing treatment of American conservatives in this country to that of Jews in Nazi Germany. I mean, a big statement, of course, but also claims of voter fraud, right? They immediately moved on her. She got defended, not just publicly, but financially by Elon Musk. Well, they ended up settling and putting out a very favorable statement to Gina. We love her. We hope to work with her in the future. You don't want to go up against Musk. And then there's the retheming of Splash Mountain. Okay? Splash Mountain, just a legendary ride at Disney World based on the 1946 film Song of the South, deemed by the mob to have deep racial undertones. So they added a black princess. They announced it in 2020 post George Floyd. We're going to do this. And then 4 years later, when Trump is roaring back and they've already missed the window, the construction took so long, they've got Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And that opens, like I said, during Trump 2.0. And it opens in all their locations. Goodbye, Splash. Hello, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, except in Tokyo. Well, why not in Tokyo? You can still keep Splash Mountain in Tokyo. You see, same thing as the COVID thing. And then you got Snow White and the 7 Little People, right? They decided we're going to use CGI because we just don't want to, we don't want to objectify the little people. The little people are going, well, wait a minute. We don't get the rom-com roles. We need these parts. There's 7 of them, and they're prominent. So that backfires. It just seems like, and by the way, I didn't even mention the $15 million payment to Trump. Disney is focused on the money, and I get that. They've got shareholders to answer to, right? The money, the portfolio. They'd prefer not to have to take a position on cultural and political events. They're so obsessed with, minimizing risk and maximizing profit, they would take any position if it improved revenue and stock price. They often take a position, the finger is to the wind, and then, holy crap, that didn't work. You got to reverse. In fairness, they are asked a lot of. We look to Disney all the time. We want them to reflect our values, but our values are divided, right? There is no win here. So the answer to it is you got to be a little bit more like Ted Sarandos at Netflix. Follow your convictions. He stood by Dave Chappelle and thus all creators against the LGBTQ plus lobby and even Netflix employees who were calling for Dave Chappelle's comedy to be canceled, to be pulled from Netflix. And Sarandos was swift and said, absolutely not. I'm not getting involved in that. That's his choice, and it stays on the platform. You know what? Couple days, dies down, it goes on. Maybe it's harder for Disney. I mean, Netflix is new, still very new, and Disney's over 100 years old. So what happens to Kimmel now? Well, his contract is up in May. You know, I would tell old baby doll to negotiate now. Get it done, right while it's hot. Or if not, walk away on your own terms so, you know, Trump doesn't take credit for killing you in the end, for winning. You got to do it on your own. Unbelievable. Let's take a look here in the comments section. Yeah, look what's going on. There's so much banter back and forth. BB's hair is nicely coiffed. Well, you know, I don't do anything to it. It just happens. Look at all these. Oh, my God. Yeah, Singer. The shareholders went nuts. They are all ticked off. Mystery Singer says, Floridians. I've never heard that expression, Floridians. Has anyone ever heard that before? I think that's a little rough. My mom lives there. Disney lost $2.5 billion when they fired Kimmel. Wow. Now that's a statistic I've never heard of. How do you get $2.5 billion? Those are not from all, I mean, that can't just be from subscriptions. My God, because if they're making that much money, holy crap. Francesca says, Billy is grounded and cares about people. I appreciate him for that. Well, thank you. I appreciate that too. Anyway, we were supposed to have Tim Pool today and I noticed a bunch of people in the comment section wondering where Tim Pool is. I'm not bitching about Tim. He's a nice guy, but we have booked Tim Pool 4 times and he has canceled 4 times at the last minute. I mean, you know, so like they were saying, well, we can reschedule again. I said, guys, when we do it 4 times, that's like, I'm afraid we have to break up at that point. I'm afraid the relationship can't come together at that point because we can't, you know, we prepare for something and then, you know, we dovetail. So we did. Hot Mics with Billy Bush is presented by LA Golf. Take your swing to the next level with LA Golf's cutting-edge technology. Visit lagolf.com. Upgrade your game. You can always listen to us exclusively on TuneIn. And we are back next week with an unbelievably special show dedicated to my recent psilocybin journey. We're going to get into psilocybin. I'm going to tell you about exactly what I went through. And the man who led me through this journey is going to join us. His story is incredible. I promise you a riveting listen. That's Monday. And then Wednesday, an old friend of mine named Harry Jacobs. And he has an incredible podcast story called The Rachel Cancer Scam. I don't know if you've heard about it online, but it's just one of the most unbelievable catfishings you've ever heard. So when you hear his story, it will blow your mind. That's Monday. That's Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow morning for Morning Mics. If you've ever joined us, it's a live chat. We do it 10 Eastern and 7 Pacific. Hop in the chat and we just go nuts. Have yourself a great day. We'll see you back here on Monday. Bye-bye. Hot Mics. Great time.